Within Russia, a Hong Kong court handed down sentences to 45 pro-democracy advocates in a mass trial on Tuesday, making it the largest case brought under the city's sweeping national security law.
The individuals, including legislators, opposition figures, and activists, received sentences ranging from 51 to 120 months.
Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist, accused The Onion and families of Sandy Hook Elementary School victims of collusive bidding as he sought to block the sale of his InfoWars platform in bankruptcy court. A woman died and 2 police officers were bitten during a dog attack Monday evening in a Boston neighborhood, police said.
The Boston Police Department responded to a call about the attack at around 5 p.m. in the city's Roxbury area.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Go fact-check yourself. Am I all white? I'm probably all white. No, I'm not all that white. I don't like to be that white. You know, I'm not really a white guy. It's Thursday already. I can't believe this is happening.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Yeah, damn good coffee and hot. Wait, you took the wrong thing.
Mind's best friend.
This is just messed up. Nothing's happening right.
America, you've got a dog that needs
walking. Oh, you know what it is?
That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Hi.
I know. I put you guys in the room right away. You know why? Because I'm sleeping. That's why. Because I'm sleeping.
Makes sense.
Plus,
good morning.
Inside me.
Oh, sorry.
You killed the
We
music.
have 30 seconds to it, Rod.
Nope, I'm starting it all over again. Start from the start. This is news in 60. Today, a woman got bit by a dog and died in Boston. And that's news in 60. And then...
My dog is your mind's best friend.
All right, that's enough. I don't have to go through the whole thing. Do I? I don't know how that loop still goes on. Good morning, gentlemen. In the room with me right now are the visible Ron Kane, the visible Stephen the sitcom Ortiz, and the visible can't work Streamlabs one stream invites to save my friggin' life, JD Fenderson. Good morning, Pops.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Were you expecting more time to think of something to write for? That's as far as I got it.
I wasn't. But thanks for asking.
I ran out of time. I didn't know we were going to be in this soon. I was like, shit.
I didn't know. I didn't know you didn't know.
I didn't know that you guys didn't know. So
I knew he didn't know, but I didn't know you didn't know, or I didn't know Ron didn't know. But I figured somebody knew.
Yeah, and that's all that's important. Someone knows.
God's coming for you. God's coming for you.
Is that a loop? What the fuck is going on with this sound?
Yeah, it keeps that one loops for some reason.
I'm coming for you.
No, God's coming for you.
And the fading, but we're gonna have a whole new learning curve come Monday with how to work these sound effects.
Now I have a question.
Yeah, you do have a question. How come you don't know? How come you're not a team member? That's the question.
I'm a team player. I don't know how to be a team member yet. But here's the question. Because the Reverend didn't write anything for Sunday. No, okay. The question is, since this is going to be like a learning curve, should we use Sunday as like, let's find out what the
Well, if he's going to do a show, yes, that's the only way, because StreamYard will be gone as of tomorrow.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I understand that.
I say fuck the Rev. Let him fucking take a day off and sit in the corner and sulk about not writing stuff, and take a Sunday off and just sleep. How about that?
Yeah, he always worries about everyone else's sins. What about his own?
He doesn't sin.
All right, so let him do a show. But as far as being the guy in the background running the fucking thing, it'd be a fucking train wreck. But that's fine.
I'm just saying, would you need practice? My question is, will this be like practice for you? Will you need to practice? That's what I'm thinking of you. I'm asking it so that.
Oh, you're thinking of me.
Well, I'd rather you fuck up on Sunday when there's like 3 people watching, maybe 5, as opposed to on Monday when there may be 10 people.
5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I'm gonna fuck up. I pretty much expect, if it starts on Monday, that I'll be fucking up until next December 27th in 2025.
No, yeah, but I'm talking about different kinds of fuck ups. Okay, I'm
talking about the same kind of fuck up. I'll be doing the same fuck ups for at least 12 months and 2 weeks.
Oh, like for example, you know not to hit the end stream button by accident now. We all know that now, but at some point, most of us hit the end stream button when we didn't mean to. Or, for example, let's say you have a reverend who didn't know he had to hit go live twice to go live, and he only hit go live once to the whole show, and then it didn't go live.
Yeah, all those things. It took 20 years to learn. Will take 20 years to learn over there. I don't know. It doesn't seem that difficult. Here's the part that's going to be difficult is I don't see where you upload your own music sound effects. They have like claps and applause shit built in there, but they don't have music. You can upload videos, but I don't see any place to upload audio at this point, which is a fucked up thing. So
stay tuned for Boomer Corner when our next segment refers to how to open up a child safety package.
Okay, Mr. Hep, Mr. I know technology. Explain to Matt what the fuck he's trying to do then. How do we know how to do it? I haven't even gotten in there yet, so I can't tell you.
I got in there, I looked around, and it scared me. So I left.
Yeah. Let me see. There is React. They have React buttons in there. Laugh, air, clap. I don't know what air sound. Oh, it's an air horn. Oh, that's dumb. It's like a Harpo Marx fucking. But I don't see anywhere where you can upload your own sound effects or music or background music. Or anything.
No.
Oh, wait. No, that's React. People, this is really entertaining for people, but I don't care. Nobody likes us anyway. I don't know if you guys don't see the comments generally after the show, when people are watching the show on demand afterwards. Yesterday there was some really mean comments about us, and it wasn't specifically naming which one of us or all of us. It was just being really cruel too.
What'd they say?
Who watches these fucking dorks? Why would anybody watch these fucking idiots? Things like that.
Okay.
On and on.
Those are fair questions, though.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, I just hit the accept invite button. I'm on the next page where it says team invite. Invite link is valid for gdfenderson@gmail.com, blah, 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 blah. And then it doesn't place. And the only thing I can click on is go home.
Go home.
So go home.
Really?
In the email address that it said it was valid for, it'll email you a code, type in the code, and you'll be in.
If you're a boomer, this happens every day. So just look inside your clothing and it has your name and address on it.
This is absolutely yesterday it took me in boomerism, it took me an hour and 35 minutes to pay my water bill online with we have to send you a code here to your phone, then you send the phone to the code, now do this capture thing, and it's just like, and then your bank account number and your routing number, that doesn't work, you got the routing number is 1 digit too short. Now it's 1 digit too long. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I felt like my grandmother in 1961 trying to figure out 2024 technology.
That's what I call schlong division. That's what I call.
Okay, I hit go home, and now my options are log in or get started. Get started for free. Okay.
Now you have to type in your email.
And give us a play-by-play when you're doing this, or else it's no fun. We want it to be fun.
Okay. See, it's telling me that this is my team, and it wants to know my team.
Click my team, and there might be a drop down. Click where it says my team, and then there should be a drop down that switches to Mind Dog.
I did hit the drop down, and let's try this.
On our next segment on Boomer Corner,
the only thing it's offering me is me. I'm the only option.
Yeah, you fucked up. You're just a fuck up.
Really, I fucked up.
You fucked up. And now what do we do? What do we do? I don't know. So GD may have to be a guest for the next few years until we figure out.
Coffee with the dog featuring GD Fenderson. Oh boy.
Finish inside me.
So while he figures that out.
No, I'm not going
to. He's not going to figure anything out. Yeah, he can't figure it out. He's he's unhelpable.
We'll troubleshoot it later, GD. I hope you out, buddy.
No, fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it. We won't do it live. We won't do it at all. Yeah, and all these sound effects and videos and stuff, I don't know where they are, so it's like starting over again. But fuck StreamYard. I can't. I'm not giving in to this. You know, for every week we're gonna double your cost. So what started out, it was reasonable 7 years ago, is now just unreasonable. They want to charge me. They want to charge me now $150 for each one of you guys a month.
What? That's fucked up because I'm worth at least $300. What?
No, I don't think you are. To be honest with you, I was thinking more like $69.95.
See, I wouldn't have paid $1 over $75 for any of us. Just saying.
Yeah. Fuck all of them. So no, fuck them. Fuck everybody. Fuck the world. Fuck the dogs biting people. You know how I have busted your balls a little bit, just a little bit, about not remembering guests that we've had on. You know how I've done that, right? You're aware that I've said, "Hey, how come you don't remember?"
I don't remember you busting up balls about.
The balls are still busted.
Are you going to bust up balls?
Didn't we do that just earlier this week with Don Sawyer when you didn't remember Don Sawyer? Hey, Don Sawyer.
Are you going to bust our balls about not remembering getting our balls busted?
No, I'm going to. Yeah, I've already done that. We're already past that segment. Now I'm going to bust my own balls, if I may. We have an author on today. Her books are about the Fae. Remember the Fae? F-A-E. It's like some magical romance, fantasy nonsense. I'm not sure if we've had her on before, and this is bothering me. Huh?
Her name sounds familiar.
The name sounds familiar, but the books sound even more familiar. The Fae. Remember the Fae? I asked, what the fuck is the Fae? F-A-E. What is that? You don't remember? I don't remember.
I think I remember that conversation. I do remember it a little bit.
This dimension.
The Mandela effect also. Yeah. And now, is this the old phase or the young phase, or just the phase? Because
it's not just a phase.
It's not just a phase.
Yeah.
No. F-A-E. F-A-E. I don't know what. I think I remember asking, "What the fuck is F-A-E?"
Oh, hi, Cynthia.
Who's Cynthia? What are you getting? Naked pictures?
No.
What?
This bullshit.
She's a professional. Wait, let me read the thing. Bring it back up.
It did that by itself. Sorry. There it goes.
I'm a professional iTunes, Apple podcast promoter. Now, how do you get to? What does that mean? Actually, did iTunes? And iTunes is an old thing. It doesn't even exist anymore, right? It's now Apple Music. So if you were pro, you'd think you'd know that. But how do you become a professional Apple podcast promoter? Is there a school you go to for that? Spotify.
It says podcastpromoter.spotify.
That doesn't make any sense. We will provide you.
Maybe that's the sentence, and then she forgot to put the comma. The space after the period.
Now, she will provide our podcast, which is not a podcast; it's a digital broadcast with real people. Do you have like a slave room? We will provide you with real people. We don't want real people. I can't feed them. What are we going to do with them? And bring in high ranking in the USA, UK, and Australia, Canada.
That's not even her picture. That's that picture is straight out of not Photoshop, one of those sample things.
It's a fat old
like Monica
fucking
Lewinsky.
dude. No, it's definitely like a 500-pound dude sitting in his mother's basement. He hasn't wiped his ass in a week.
Now, is that by choice or because he can't reach it because of his arms are too short?
The second part, yeah. It just seems to be my fat shaming anniversary.
Well, this is the season to do it because the official fat season starts Thanksgiving Day, and it ends January 1st when
there will be no fat. There will be no fat season next year. It'll be the year of the worm.
Hey, by this time next year, I'm going to be buff as shit. You guys will see.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's what I call schlong division.
I don't know why he keeps saying that.
I have a fatty appointment tomorrow, so.
What do you mean a fatty appointment? What are you doing?
I was over 400 pounds 2 years ago. I'm 280 now, and I've kind of plateaued, and I want to get down to 180. So I'm going to a weight loss.
Your legs amputated?
Well, I asked that because that would easily chop off 100 pounds, but they said no. So they said, no, instead you have to get a dietitian, a nutritionist, and you have to work out and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So, yeah.
Now, insurance will pay for all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, because it's
prevented. It's like preventative health care. So I'm trying to get healthy and kind of get in front of it because now that I'm not in the hospital every other week again, I can
prevent you from... It prevents you from what? From what? What does it prevent you from playing baseball? You weren't going to be playing baseball anyway. What is it preventing? I'm
what, being fat?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to be able to see my penis, not just hear good things about it.
I think. Hold on, Cynthia is in the chat room. She's saying she is. All right, we can pull her down now. We don't need to. Okay. I'm not.
But no, the biggest thing though is just I don't know, like moving myself around and shit. You know, like I have to lift myself up and throw myself around a lot, and it'd be nice to not be as heavy.
Oh well, you can get somebody to do that for you. Here came up in my memories today on Facebook. Speaking of fat, I said I understand fat shaming is wrong, and I accept full responsibility. I'm going to hell anyway. But if Trump should go missing, it will be because Christie ate him.
Well, you see that lady standing outside a fork and knife range.
See, and he's not helping himself with the leaning on the rail. Is not, it stand up straight. It might.
The leaning on the rail, the pants up to his tits.
Yeah.
Just the camel toe for days. Oh, sorry,
and on the beach, you're inviting the whale jokes here.
Yeah, I was just about to say this looks like a really bad whale beaching, and she's investigating. She's reporting on it.
How much you in the bet he's not putting all of his weight on that rail?
Oh, absolutely not. That rail would have already fallen over.
I bet that rail is long gone. If you go, there's like a dent in it if it's there.
I just want somebody to be as supportive of me as that boardwalk was of Chris Christie. That's what I want.
Well, you have a wonderful wife. Doesn't she support you as much as that boardwalk just supported him?
Listen, she is very much every ounce of that arm rail, and I will tell you that she is. It's all of her might. So
wow. So this is my fat shaming anniversary. I should mark this date down. I didn't even say the date today because I was so confused of having three faces. Well, 4 if you count mine, but mine's not really a face. But
November 21st.
It's Thursday, November 21st, a week before Thanksgiving here, when we have nothing to give thanks about anymore. We're just thankful that we have nothing to say thanks about.
We don't have brain worms. You can be thankful for that.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I got plenty to be thankful for.
No, you don't.
Oh yeah.
No, I took it all away.
I do.
Now
For
next
example,
year,
I'm thankful that I'm
next year
white.
will be a different story.
This is not in the news in 60. ICC issues arrest warrant for Israel's Netanyahu, Gallant, and Hamas chief Deif. I don't know Deif.
What's ICC?
For alleged war crimes.
International crime, was it the International Crime Consortium or International?
I couldn't care. That's what
International Court, Crime Court, or whatever.
Tell us you're going to do nothing without telling us you're going to do nothing.
International
Basically,
Crime
this is
Commission. So the war crimes, they're being charged with war crimes now.
It's the global version of Merrick Garland.
Yeah, kind of. But the question I have is, like, because Biden is like pro-Israel, is he going to try and get involved in this at all? Like an international war trial?
No, they don't. We don't. The United States doesn't support them. Doesn't support the ICC. So
I know that.
He doesn't get to do anything.
I know. Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't get to do anything supporting them. But will he try to intervene on Netanyahu's behalf and save him from being taken? That's the question.
Now, I thought he was supportive of Israel, but not Netanyahu per se. In other words, we're
going to find out, I guess.
I will
right?
protect the Israeli people, but I won't lift a finger to stop Netanyahu from going to prison.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know, but it could get tricky there. It could get a little tricky. I don't know.
I mean, they've had an arrest warrant out for him for over a year now, haven't they?
Well, I mean, with
so too. Yeah, I thought
him and for Sinwar, but Sinwar is dead, so I guess they're not going to arrest him now.
What are you showing us here? Trump's face is
it is terrible hair.
This was before he had the face ironed. Remember yesterday I showed you the face where it looked like it was ironed.
Oh my God! Look at the look at the hair balding.
Is he already aging at a 10 times pace now that he's the president-elect again? Jesus Christ!
No,
he looks like a corpse.
I think he was pulling his hair out, waiting for decisions to come down from the courts.
Well, one of the decisions has been made already, according to Michael Popak, Legal AF on the Midas Touch Network. Who is a former prosecutor and defense attorney, both been practicing law for 40 years, has been following this thing very closely. Just last night, around midnight, he said the judge and the prosecutors have decided they are going to sentence Trump to jail time starting January 21st, 2029.
So that's one of the things I was saying. They could put the sentence and to delay the
they are obviously not playing chess here, because what they're doing is giving a wannabe dictator every reason to hold on to power and not have another election. Once he's in office, if he sees, well, the minute I get out of office, I'm going to jail, then I'm not getting out of office. And he did not want to leave the White House last time. You know he's not going to do it. With a jail sentence coming the next. He's not going to jail. He's not going.
Well, there's a simpler way. There is an easier way of him avoiding jail time. Getting a kinder, more helpful New York governor who will commute the sentence. I didn't say a Republican governor. I said a kinder, gentler, friendlier.
I think what's going to happen. He's going to clear himself of charges. Then when something goes bad, which it will within the first year, he's going to opt out and come out with some kind of health thing. He's going to be like, my health is terrible, blah, blah.
I'm not sure he's going to make it to the inauguration looking at him. I pray.
He does now.
I'm not a praying man, but the first thing I do is to check my phone. Is he dead yet?
Does he really look like that though? Like, is that like legitimately how he looks right now?
Yes.
If that's how he looks right now, he looks ill. Like that looks like somebody that should be hooked up to an oxygen tank and like laying in a bed, not sitting on a plane
with a cigarette in his hand and a match. If you're gonna give him an
I was
oxygen
elected
tank,
president.
if you're going to give him an oxygen tank, please give him the match and the cigarette also.
Yeah. But the fact is he can't clear himself of the New York State crime. He can't pardon himself, none of that stuff. It's not going away. So if they sentence him for January 21st, 2029, he has if he lives, and he might not live, but he has no reason to ever. That is all the incentive he needs to have a complete coup, an insurrection, whatever you want to call it, and say, I'm not going. I'm not leaving. I need this office to protect me from going to jail. I'm not dying in jail.
I'm waiting for this deportation thing to be a complete fucking train wreck, especially when they start arresting and bringing in people that are legal immigrants and imprisoning them and breaking up families. I hope you like lawsuits, America, because it's going to be plenty.
Well, the ACLU is already preparing. They've already started suing the would-be Trump administration to get the plans for the deportation so that they can start fighting it in court now.
Did you hear what the borderser said when he was asked? How are you gonna? He's like, how are you gonna do this without separating families? And he said, "Oh, easy. We'll just deport the whole family."
Right. No, what's his name? Horan or
Holman. H-O-M-A-N. Yeah, Holman.
Like, so
you know what?
Man.
I'm surprised nobody's making hormone and
so he's basically saying, I don't care if you're illegal or not. If you're related to him, you're going too. Like,
but I think he's saying, what he's saying is that you voluntarily deport if you're a citizen. In other words, if you're legally here, or you're part of a blended family, if you don't want your family separated, then you go with them.
Well, I feel like he should have specified that they can go with him, not
well, he did that in other interviews. In other interviews, he did. I think he's tired of repeating the same things over and over again. Or maybe he doesn't have or maybe he doesn't have a real strategy, and it's hard for him to keep track of what he said last time.
Don't worry, when it goes bad, he's going to opt out. He's going to oh, look, I have this medical problem.
Okay, so here's my question, because Ron, you have a wife who is a woman of brownness, and Stephen, your wife is a woman of brownness. How many guns do you have, and will you use them to protect your spouses from being deported?
Well, I have one. The rest were I lost the rest in the lake. They're gone. I don't have them.
Well, yeah, I'm concerned. The reason I'm concerned is because
want a fresh one.
Like a lot of people aren't smart enough to figure things out, and my wife was born in a foreign country called New Mexico, and I know that confuses a lot of Americans that it's part of the United States and not a different country.
No, they did.
Why do we have a New Mexico when the old one still sends all the dirty bad ones? Anyway, go on.
Having been a New Mexico resident, this is one of the things that they deal with all the friggin' time is people, you're from New Mexico? Oh, it must be a nice country. What kind of government you have down there? Like, what? Oh, Jesus.
Which explains why Texas is still a terrible state.
Right.
You're welcome, Texas.
Because it borders two Mexicos.
No, I kid you not. We were working in Georgia, and we were at a Staples getting some flyers made or something, and the guy was with us from West Virginia, but he lives in Virginia, and so we're talking, and I mentioned that he was from Virginia, and the lady looked at me and she laughed and she goes, "There's no such thing as Virginia." She says, "You mean West Virginia?" I said, "No, I mean Virginia." I said, "He was born in West Virginia, but he lives in Virginia." She goes, and she looked at me. She really didn't know that there was a Virginia and a West Virginia. She thought that West Virginia was the western half of Virginia. Like if you say like I'm going to Baltimore, it's like East Baltimore or West Baltimore, that kind of thing. East Compton or West Compton. She thought it was like Virginia, and this is just the western part of Virginia. And we didn't know that she didn't know. We didn't know that she was serious.
I remember
we
failing
walked
fifth
out.
grade.
Wow.
It took us a while to figure it out.
You didn't hear that. I just I had a phone call, and then I answered the phone call was on the computer, and they were listening to you. And they were some spam call, somebody trying to sell you solar panels. It was pretty funny.
So is you think they're going to bring in Jared Fogle also with this health initiative?
Man, look.
Is he still alive?
That name, man.
He's alive, and they are short. They are short a few sex offenders, so I think they could get. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, this is. I am really enjoying the dance of white people trying to come to the defense of Matt Gaetz. Oh, whiteys, you're doing a horrific job, but keep doing it because it's funny as hell.
They are not keeping his report hidden because he's innocent.
Right.
Hello, wake up. I mean, if he was innocent, they would have put it out like immediately if it was exonerated him. Hello, it's obviously. Now, the thing is, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just going by what people who I trust, because they usually get shit right, have said on Twitter. They were saying that he paid over $10,000 for sex, and he did it on Venmo, and they have the receipts.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
And so, why? I still can't wrap my head around this. So he's out of Congress. He plans on going to a hearing to be confirmed for Attorney General. But in the meantime, he's just a private citizen. Why is Merrick Garland not charging him now? It's like, oh, well, it's like, it's like, well, Christmas holiday's coming up next week anyway. We might as well not do any work. We might as well just check out early, like a month and a half early or whatever. I mean, I don't get it. You have the guy, you got the goods on the guy. Why not charge him now?
Yeah. What I like I said, what I love about this is that these people out here they have to do this dance when normally when an attorney general is appointed, it's usually a stuck up kind of like white guy who's very conservative because he's an attorney general, and seeing these people trying to do this dance with this guy who's got all this shit on his resume, it's the hypocrisy is a chef's kiss right now.
Yeah. And the people, the cult is still not believing anything, but on the sex allegation thing, there's Pete Hegseth. What? How do you say his last name?
Hegseth. Hegseth.
I'm never going to say his name again. I'm just going to call him Pete the Raper.
Okay.
What
happens when we get another Pete the Raper on the? He's going to find another Pete and another rapist.
Fuck. So I don't know what I'm going to do then. Pete 2,
maybe number 2. Them. Pete the Raper 1.
Hegseth.
Hey, and make sure you check out the new vape shop in Florida. If I'm not raping, I'm vaping.
Wow. It's called Rape and Vape. Thank you.
Rape and vape and rape or rape and vape. Vape and rape. It's that. Police report reveals new details from sexual assault allegation from Pete Hegseth. He claims, now the woman, they have the police report and the woman gave all the details of this thing. He claims that she was straight, he was drunk, and she raped him.
That's the new version because he paid her to sign an NDA not to talk about it. And so she can't talk about
about how you raped me. I'm going to pay you not to talk about how you raped me.
She was on the bed. She was on the bed like in The Exorcist. Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me.
Yeah, there was a girl. Now back to fat shaming. There was a big old fat woman. We used to make fun of her because we used to say because she could kick any guy's ass. So he'd be like, "Fuck me, or I'll break your arm." Okay, break my arm. But yeah, so I mean, last night I got into a conversation. John Rulo, who's been on this program, songwriter friend of mine, he has a new song out called "It Can't Happen Here," and the thumbnail on his YouTube video is Trump and Hitler together, and the visuals in the song are all about Nazis marching through the streets of America. And his cousin, who lives in Texas, said, "Oh yeah, tell me what's gonna happen. It's not really happening here. Give me specifics." So I pointed it to Project 25. I said, well, you know what? The specifics have been laid out for over a year. You've had a chance to read it. You don't want to read it. You're ignoring it on purpose. And she said, I sincerely want to know. I said, well, here's what's going to happen. They're going to be using the military to deport families. Trump is going to try to overturn the 22nd Amendment so that he can remove birthright citizenship from people, and not just use it for anchor babies, but for using it for anybody he doesn't like, to declare them an illegal. You're not a citizen, and we can deport you somewhere. We don't know where. Then you're going to have to get a menstrual card and carry. Women of a certain age are going to have to carry a card with them that show that their menstrual cycle is intact and they're not getting an abortion or haven't been pregnant recently and made it disappear, any of that kind of stuff. And she said, well, I'll thanks for the information. I'll be glad to rub it in your face when none of that happens. I said, don't think I would not be happy that none of this happens. But if you believe it, they don't intend to do it. If it doesn't happen, the only reason it won't happen is because the resistance has fought. Whatever resistance there is has fought to stop it from happening successfully. But it's not like they're not trying to do this now. And if you think that, I'm going to be unhappy if it doesn't happen, you're just fucking delusional. Of course, I don't want it to be happen. I would love for you to be right that this isn't going to happen. But they don't believe in anything. They don't believe Trump ever raped.
See, here's the problem. If Trump attempts to do something and fails, or when they attempt to do something and fails, they say, well, he didn't do it. And they forget the fact that he tried. It would be like if my neighbor tried to break into my house and steal all my stuff, and we stop him at the door. It's not like my neighbor's going like, well, I didn't steal your stuff. It's like, no, but you tried. We stopped you. And
they tried to have American citizens shot for peaceful protest.
Right.
They don't believe any of it. It's all lies. It's all lies in there. It's all made up, and they refuse. And she was talking about, we'll see who's misinformed. I'm in Texas, and I know these immigrant gangs that are immigrant gangs. You call them a gang because they're brown. If they were white people, they'd just be hanging out.
They'd be fans. They'd be sports fans.
Right. But we'll come back to the idea of immigration, deportation, and the military getting involved. Anybody, privates or corporals or even sergeants in the Army, are they trained administrators who can just go through a data sheet and work out who's here illegally and who's not illegally, or is it going to be racial profiling? You look like a spick. Where you from? Let me see your papers. That's what it's going to be like.
I wonder within the first month if we'll have an accidental shooting, like someone from the military shoots somebody, accidentally, and it's.
I'll give you credit.
You mean accidentally? You mean accidentally, Ron? Do you mean accidentally?
Yeah.
Tapped them 3 times in the chest, and then stabbed them with a baton to make sure, that kind of accident.
And listen,
and the other thing to watch out for too is they still want to ban TikTok, right? And the only reason they want TikTok banned is because it's easy to mobilize people on TikTok currently.
Right. So here's the part about this where it gets really people thinking, well, racial profiling. I don't care. I hate them anyway. This is why I voted for Trump. I want those people deported. This is they don't say it out loud, but that's the thinking. But a lot of them look like me. I'm
ugly.
Yeah, well, I don't mean the ugly part. I mean the rest of it. I mean skin tone. I mean the fact that I could look like a Arab or a Muslim or a Hispanic, all those things, and so I will be racially profiled. I don't have fucking papers to prove I'm not. And
yeah,
a lot
but you talk like you're from New York. You say, "Hey, what you taking for me for what? What you
I'm walking here." Me, huh?
So do most of the Hispanic, all Puerto Ricans. We forget they're Americans, but they are Americans. But most of the Hispanic population of New York sounds a lot like me. They can go back and
you
forth.
can red, white, and blow her. They are Americans too.
I know. I said that.
He said that. He did say that.
Tell your wife to red, white, and blow me now.
She said you're too white. Sorry.
You remember years ago when there was that whole Alien Gonzalez thing? Like,
Wait, she didn't get mad when I said spick, but she got mad when I said we forget that Puerto Ricans are Americans.
Well, yeah, of course.
All right. All right. I'm sorry, Ron. It just occurred to me that I
create a slur. It's inclusive to create a slur for somebody. It's un-American to call them not American.
I didn't call them not American. I said we forget. This is the problem.
Well,
I'm
maybe
sorry,
you should
Ron.
remember.
I totally sidetracked Ron, and he doesn't say much, but when he does, I interrupt him.
God's coming for you.
I was just going to say, you remember years ago when there was that whole Alien Gonzalez incident, and which sparked, a whole thing. Now imagine that's going to happen again, except it's going to be 200 times worse because it's going to be accelerated because everyone's got phones. So within an hour, there are going to be fucking videos everywhere and fucking people asking like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah. Well, you know how swatting is a thing. Do you think people are going to start icing people? Like
that's what. Yeah, there's already a number being distributed for that purpose, and I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be using that number for Trumpers who I know, because I know lots of Trumpers who are married to Hispanic women or have people of color living in their house. They will be. I'm going to call on them. Yeah, this is what you voted for. Have a taste of it. I'm going to be spiteful like that.
Good on you.
I was just going to say Stephen was not. He didn't even have his back broken yet when the kid you just mentioned in the
Elian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Elian
Steven,
Gonzalez?
Gonzalez. Do you know him, Stephen?
I know Speedy Gonzalez.
So you're not familiar of the reference of the picture. It was during the Clinton administration. Again, I think you were either just an infant or just born or whatever. Kid, a Cuban kid, where they came and he brought the military in. Pulled him out at gunpoint. He was hiding in a closet. A child, like 5 or 6 years old. We've seen it before. But imagine that was one incident that Ron was referencing, and it was like everything. It was the main story everywhere. What everybody was talking about. Imagine that on a mass scale of like 1,000 kids every day having that happen at gunpoint. Grabbing, it's going to be
videos everywhere.
Oh man, if that happens, I'm going to end up on the news. I'm going to end up in jail or dead.
If that happens, you're going to see videos of the military being in towns, escorting people out, arresting people, kids on the ground crying, and I wonder how far that will go.
To answer your question, yes, I did say that.
But if you're looking for work, Americans. When they go to Nebraska and they start clearing these people out that work in the meat packing facilities, you'll be able to get a job. I hope you're going to be there day one. Day one.
And picking fruit, you're going to find out just how hard that job really is. And
and then all you rich bitches with your fucking housekeepers and your nannies and shit, those are all probably going bye-bye too.
Yeah. Yeah, all that.
All of that.
Yeah, that will be fun. But coming back to this conversation I was having with John and his cousin who lives in Texas. Now, before I even get into that, Texas has set aside land for the concentration camps, the deportation staging areas, camps. So, when they say this is all hysteria, which is what the conversation was about. The woman who lives in Texas and all her friends were saying, these people are just being hysterical. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing's going to be wrong. We're just going to get rid of all of the illegal gangs and all this. No. But the first step to fascism is people saying, oh, stop, you're overreacting. It's not going to be that bad. That's the first step to letting it in. And you're either saying, you don't believe Trump, he's lying about what he plans to do and wants to do, or you're saying he's incompetent and not going to be able to do. But you're not saying he doesn't want, you can't, and if you read or you listen to him for a second, You can't say this is not what he intends to do. He's been telling you out loud. It's not like he's keeping this a secret. He's been saying, I want to end birthright citizenship. And he said it not just in terms of children who are brought here for the purpose of keeping their parents here, which he calls anchor babies, but he's talking about the Haitians who were invited to Springfield, Ohio, by the mayor of that town because they needed labor in the factories. He said, well, they're illegals. No, they came here legally. They got visas. They did it the right way. Well, we're still going to deport them anyway. We're just going to declare them illegals. Well, how, the idea of taking birthright citizenship away is the same thing. We can declare anybody illegal at that point. You're not a citizen. So, but they're all saying this is just hysteria. Why all hysteria? Nothing's going to happen. I hope they're right. I hope they're right. I would love to be made a fool of in this for it to come out that I'm overreacting to this, but I'm not. Just not.
Yeah, and plus as much it is interesting because as much as people say like this and that won't happen, that it's also possible that it doesn't happen too, because we've seen the last time what happened when he was in power, and every day it was do a 90-degree turn every fucking day because of his incompetence. So I imagine something like that. Maybe he'll have these idiots behind him pushing him, but at the same time I think the incompetence and I wonder too if we'll get our first death at the White House during this next administration, like a murder.
We've had deaths at the White House.
Well, I mean, a recent murder.
Yeah. What Ian said, I call anchor babies when your girlfriend gets pregnant to try to save them. I've had them lie to me. I've had 3 different women lie to me that say, well, like 2 weeks after the breakup, I'm pregnant, and they weren't. But I've never had one actually say, actually be pregnant. So yeah, that is
now, do you think, because Clinton was a big thing with ethics, will the ethics matter when J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel are banging each other in the vice president's office?
Yeah.
Will one of those will leave a stain on the other's suit?
More importantly, did we ever consider the protection of all of the antique couches in the White House? J.D. Vance is going to be left unsupervised with those. Uncool.
Maybe this would be a good time to mention this. We have an offer to be on an FM station, to take this program and syndicate it on an FM station in the Houston, Texas area.
Can I say nigger?
That's the problem. That's where I was going.
Still can't say it.
There is so much. There is after a review, upon review, it turns out that I would have to spend almost all day, every day, bleeping out like the entire program to comply with FCC regulations. I'm not sure. Maybe we need maybe I need to hire
7-second delay or 8-second delay.
Yeah, or somebody just to keep hitting B's all fucking day long, so I can find all the words that I even all fucking day.
So it wouldn't be live. It'd be like next day or later in the evening.
Yeah. So, and if you're talking about current events or stuff, it's going to be like the fucking Alan Edwards news, whatever, delayed news. This is the latest news from 7 weeks ago. I don't know. I'm kind of excited about just the opportunity presenting itself, but then all that work of trying to say, what can we say, what can't we say, and what can we give them that actually will work with the FCC?
To be honest, in a way it'd be cool. I'm pretty sure we could all like learn new words to substitute. Like instead of saying nigger, I could say Trump. Just or Vance or something like that. I could learn to substitute different words. We could have code words for that, or
So the V word.
Yeah, vagina. That V word.
No, Vance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we could say Vance. Yeah.
The V word.
Yeah.
And
you
couldn't be too graphic either. I don't know. If they're going to pay you money, then it's worth kind of working in those confines if you're willing to do that.
We haven't discussed the monetary back and forth yet. The thing with it is, the business model as I proposed it was that I would be able to actually charge these sponsors up front, and rather than having to wait until they see people buying their products. This is free advertising on a very popular FM station in the Houston, and so they have over 1 million listeners.
I mean,
daily.
realistically, I feel like if it's a real opportunity and we have to just at least watch the curse words, I feel like it's semi-doable.
Not just the curse words, though. The other words that, like TD was just alluding to, and cum stains and cock, and
would you need? Would the show need to be structured a little more for radio, or they'd be all
well,
right?
I'd have to just not much more structured. Keep the news. I'd have to read a time update every 7 minutes. It's 10:15, whatever. Every 7. That's a typical radio.
That's actually that's harder than anything. Of all the things you've mentioned, that's the hardest thing to do, because we start talking and be like, didn't we supposed to do a time update an hour ago?
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then leave 2-minute gaps for local traffic and sports reports in certain areas and all that kind of stuff. But that would be post-editing. It wouldn't be live. So basically, I'm making a lot of work for myself. I'm considering it. But, as I think about it even now, it's just like when I get done with this, I have to publish it to different podcasting platforms. I have to send it to Opus and InVideo and all that kind of stuff to chop up stuff. I'm already putting in a lot of work after the show. It'd be like, I'm never going to leave this fucking seat once I pull the trigger on that. It's something I've wanted for a long time. It's like Trump. I want to get back in the White House. I want to get back on radio because I've been blacklisted since 1992.
But you want to do it live. You don't want to be doing it after the fact.
I'm okay with it not being after the fact, to be honest. Yes, I would prefer live.
Yeah,
but I'm fine just to get my foot back in the door. Because I literally was blacklisted for years trying to get back on radio, and I couldn't do it. And people still know my name is like, oh no.
I've had a couple stints on the radio. I loved it. Like, yeah, being in that studio, like interviewing people, like that whole thing is just a lot of fun. I've done it twice, and both times I was like, oh, be so much fun.
Yeah. So, bottom line is the cult, coming back to this Facebook conversation I was having, these people don't believe anything is real. Like, they don't believe that Trump actually, interfered with the last election, which he's been convicted of. That conviction, they still believe that was a DOJ witch hunt. It was a jury of his peers, New Yorkers, who heard the case, first indicted him. A grand jury indicted him, not the DOJ indicted him. A grand jury indicted him. And then a jury of his peers convicted him. This is not Joe Biden's people. This is people like you and me and people off the street in New York. His neighbors, people who knew him his whole life, convicted him. They don't believe it. It's all a setup. The adjudicated rape was all fake. When I said last night, on Facebook, I said, if you knew somebody who had raped a 13-year-old girl, what would you do? And there's only one correct answer. And somebody, they'd fucking cut his balls off or whatever. No, the correct answer is elect him president. And then one guy said, well, was there something in the news I missed? No, it's an old story, but it's been validated. And if you have to ask that question, you are definitely a cult member. If you don't know that Donald Trump raped a 13-year-old girl, his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein, detailed it on a tape that you will refuse to listen to, you're a cult member, and you just got your head in the sand. You don't want to believe, but that doesn't change the fact that it's true. He's a rapist and a child rapist. And
do the states have, when they're talking about deportation and stuff, don't the states have rights? Can't they push back on the Fed and say there is really no need here for a national emergency? Why is the Fed coming into our state to do unauthorized action.
The answer to that is yes and maybe, and this is why I'm saying that. The most of the Democratic governors are already getting together. They're pooling their money. They've already started court actions to try to prevent this. But at some point, they could be totally right legally and morally. And if it gets beyond the district courts and get to the Supreme Court, all bets are off.
No, not all bets are off. All bets are losers. All bets against Trump are losers. All bets are on and losers. He's got the court stacked, and he wants to stack it even further. And nothing.
But then, but also, couldn't the states argue over commerce? Like that's how they could approach deportation. They could go to the Supreme Court and say, "Whoa, you can't come into our state and start doing mass deportations because it will affect commerce and how goods and services are traded throughout."
Of course, they could argue that, but who are they arguing it to? Clarence Thomas?
Right. That's what I'm saying. There could be that. We've seen this where the law is on, when the law is on the side of, let's say, not on the side of Trump and Republicans, but they say they find a new precedent. And they'll say, and it's a one-time only thing. This is not for the future. It is just for this case. And if you want it to apply to any other case, you have to try another case. You know, they have all kinds of legal manipulations that they'll work on, and to carry out Trump's wishes.
Yeah.
So
and
you're
at the
right.
same time, they could really bog down that process and slow it down.
Who's they? Well, Gavin Newsom, because GD a minute ago said the Democratic governors. I think so far the only one I've heard that is doing anything proactively is Newsom. Now, if you know more,
there's more. It's pretty much even Maryland has gotten involved. So it's like all of them. I'm aware of like 5 by name, and my problem is I can't remember all of their names. I can remember their faces.
Al, Bob, Tom.
Like, damn it.
By name.
But there's a good number of Democratic governors that have already started joined together and pooled their money. Because that's the other thing. It's because the legal fees are going to be immense. So that's why they're also pooling their money so that it can be like one case as opposed to all these different states filing a different case.
For people on the radio, you're listening to the commentary of Mel Tillis Fenderson. I'm sorry.
God's coming for you.
Thank you.
You know what?
First
I
time
think
that's
the next time I sleep with my wife, I'm gonna scream that just like that. Just
coming for you.
reactions. I'm coming for you.
Interesting thing on X this morning. But a couple of weeks ago, I made Hank Williams Jr., Kid Rock, all these fucking like redneck assholes are doing some, redneckathon concert tour with the worst fucking people.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
You can't call Kid Rock a redneck.
I'm sorry. He's not a redneck.
Yeah, Kid Rock is just, he appropriates any culture that he can make money for.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's a Michigan racist.
Rapper, and now he's country because
he's
a Michigan rapist.
Hillbilly. Yeah, he's a Michigan hillbilly fucking piece of shit.
All right, but so they have a tour with all these like MAGA country chart people, and I said you can call it the Shitty People Tour, and people have been liking that for a while. They keep coming back, and this is like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Today, Hank Williams III, Hank Williams Jr.'s son, liked it and he laughed at it. He said, "Good choice, good choice." So I'm just into, because I would think, generationally, maybe they're evolving. That's all I'm thinking about that. Maybe because it didn't seem like he was trying to pick a fight with me, like he was agreeing with me. Yeah, there's shitty people about his own fault.
Those concerts sound terrible. It's just gonna be a bunch of bros and old white guys.
John Rich.
What I want to know is, are they going to allow open carry in those concerts with the alcohol and because
hell yeah, brother! Praise Dale, raise hell! I'm gonna see me some Kid Rock, baby, and I'm gonna do some crystal meth off a dude's dick in the porta potty, but it ain't gay. He gave me a Bud Light afterwards.
like I said, I've never seen a guy like Kid Rock who wants to be poor so bad. I mean, he wants to be a poor white so bad. I mean, it's like, Kid Rock, we know you're bullshitting.
It's like when he protested fucking Bud Light, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be like every other American, and I'm gonna go shoot my $30,000 worth of Bud Light I kept in my massive mansion freezer." I'm like, "What are you doing, dude? You fucking moron!"
Michelle's in the room. Michelle, you got to come back on the show, man. You got to come back on the show.
My favorite bass player in the world.
I thought
he's the nicest guy.
I thought
you're my favorite upright organ player.
You're my favorite mouth organ player. Now, fuck you.
Oh, thanks, man.
What was I going to say? Oh, we have to go to news. Sorry. This is for the people in Houston, Texas. We're playing the news.
Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist, accused the Onion and families of Sandy Hook Elementary School victims of collusive bidding as he sought to block the sale of his Infowars platform in bankruptcy court.
Jones, who infamously called the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre a hoax and accused parents of being actors, called the Onion's $1.75 million winning bid sheer nonsense, claiming it was only half of what the losing bidder had offered. Wade Addison reporting.
A Hong Kong court handed down sentences to 45 pro-democracy advocates in a mass trial on Tuesday, making it the largest case brought under the city's sweeping national security law.
The individuals, including legislators, opposition figures, and activists, received sentences ranging from 51 to 120 months on charges of conspiracy to commit subversion under the national security law. The law was imposed by Beijing in July following large-scale pro-democracy protests in the former British colony. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Moscow claims Ukraine targeted Russian soil for the first time using U.S.-supplied long-range missiles just 36 hours after U.S. President Joe Biden allegedly approved their use against targets within Russia.
According to the Russian Defense Ministry, 5 of the 6 missiles aimed at Russia's Bryansk region, bordering Ukraine, were intercepted by air defenses after being launched at 3:25 a.m. local time. However, debris from the 6th missile reportedly ignited a fire at a military facility, the BBC reported. Benjamin Wright reporting.
The Big Black Cock reported.
This is the latest news headlines.
While cigarette smoking in the United States has declined overall, progress has been uneven across different population groups, according to a new Surgeon General report.
Released Tuesday morning, the report highlighted disparities in tobacco use based on race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, income, education, occupation, geography, and behavioral health. The findings also revealed that cigarette smoking and secondhand smoke exposure contribute to nearly 500,000 deaths annually, accounting for roughly 1 in 5 deaths nationwide. Jim Kender reporting.
A woman died and 2 police officers were bitten during a dog attack Monday evening in a Boston neighborhood, police said.
The Boston Police Department responded to a call about the attack at around 5 p.m. in the city's
Called
Roxbury
the mass
area.
stab
Officers
guy,
found a woman
dude.
with life-threatening injuries and a man
And he could
also
stab
hurt.
the dog,
woman,
and
believed to be the dog's
everybody will be
owner,
happy.
succumbed to her injuries at a hospital. Her name has not been released. Liam White reporting.
A Manhattan man accused of fatally stabbing 3 people in an unprovoked spree made his first court appearance on Tuesday.
Ramon Rivera, 51, faces 3 counts of first-degree murder, according to the NYPD. Police sources say Rivera confessed during questioning. The judge granted prosecutors' request for remand, with Rivera's next court date set for November 22nd. The attacks unfolded over a span of 3 hours on Monday morning. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Why are you going on?
I'm sure they asked
He's
him why.
confessing. You sure? Because why isn't that newsworthy? Like what?
Well,
You're
I mean,
running around town stabbing strangers.
They could have asked him why. He just didn't say why. Maybe he has the lawyer, and the lawyer says, "Don't tell them. That's motive. Don't give them motive."
But he didn't say don't confess.
He's probably going for the crazy plea, right? So they're like, don't give them any answers. You're crazy.
And he could have confessed to the stabbing before he realized he had a right to remain silent. And then he goes, lawyer. And it's okay, well, you've already confessed. So
I think once he says he did it, now the only thing left to do is not give them any answers and just claim that he's fucking psycho.
Well, not that I would know about such things, but in organized crime, they try to make it look like a random. So if you want one guy dead,
right,
you want to go around making it look like it's just a random shooting, like a guy running around town just shooting people, when just one of the people was an intended target.
right, like the second one. And the
Yeah.
first and the third are just what's
Distractions.
it called? Distractions or collateral damage or
Collateral damage. Yeah. So I don't know, but I would definitely want to get to the bottom of this. Like, man, I need some answers here. This is not enough.
Matt, no matter what answers you get, it's not going to placate you, because you want it to be one of the victims, and so you're not going to be happy with his answers. What you want to know, you don't want to know. You don't want to know why they stabbed the other ones. You want to know why he didn't stab you. Ask the real question.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do. We get on the station in Houston. You get your press credentials. You go in to interview him, and you accidentally leave the pen sitting on the counter. He stabs you in the neck, and there you go.
Good idea. I know the good idea. I said that's because I'm going to be looking up things like that. You're not going to want to review my browser history come a couple of weeks from now.
Oh, trust me. We already knew that was a list of felonies. It was the day I met you, so I accept.
But I know why he didn't stab me. He didn't have the opportunity. I think if he would have had the opportunity, listen, most people, if they had the opportunity, would stab me. He just.
And that's the real reason they're upset you left the band. Now they don't have access to you.
Nobody's upset that I left the band. This is nobody's upset at all. They're celebrating it.
People comment on your post saying, "Oh man, that sucks."
I paid for that.
Oh, have you? I'm not sure if you guys seen, but I guess yesterday, 2 days ago, Instagram now has a feature where you can reset your algorithm. It'll allow you to reset your algorithm, so your suggestion feed.
I can't even reset my alarm clock.
Which app did you say?
Instagram.
Oh, hell yeah.
What does that mean? Like, I'll stop seeing all the because I get two different things: girls in short skirts.
Here, I'm gonna pull it up because I have it saved. And let's see here.
Girls in short skirts and guitars. Those are the things I see when I go on Instagram.
I see a combination of like comedy, airplane videos, UFO videos, and then whatever the fuck it is that Ron sends us. Like that's pretty much what I see in my algorithm.
I have a lot of Marmot videos.
Yeah,
and Capocara videos. You know, people, those little big rodents. I see a lot of that.
Okay, so right here, reset your algorithm. Then here is the guy that runs.
Recommendations on Instagram. Now we rank content because there's a ton to see on Instagram, and one that surfaces stuff that you're going to be the most interested in.
I don't trust him with that accent, to be honest with you.
But sometimes we make mistakes, and I want to acknowledge that. And sometimes you might end up in a pattern where you just
mistakes
Instagram unintentionally to something that you do not love. You know,
I'm sorry, it's not a mistake.
I have looked at some old soccer highlights, and all of a sudden it was just all soccer highlights, and I just didn't love it anymore.
No,
so
Ron,
if you get into a bad spot, you can now reset all your recommendations across all your Instagram surfaces. You go to profile,
and it'll be 24
settings,
hours before he's seeing nothing but bottles.
I want to be clear, this is a big thing to do. It's going to make your Instagram much less interesting at first, because we're going to treat you as if we know nothing about you and your interests, and it'll take us some time to learn those again. So it's not something I recommend doing all the time. But if you do end up in a place where you really don't feel great about your experience, this gives you the ability to
get him out of my face. Get him out of my face. Thank you. I wasn't going to punch him. I break my monitor. So he's saying you can reset it, but you're still going to be the same pervert that you are and were, and it's going to take 30 seconds for it to realize, oh, Ron likes really strange kink.
Not really. I like where my algorithm is, because it gives me a combination of thirst traps, horrible things, a few murders here and there, some accidental deaths.
That's your kink. We know who you are. We know what you get. Chrissy gets, I'm assuming, mostly reptiles, right?
But it does. That is a nice feature to have, because if if you need to start clean or want to start clean and take your algorithm in a different direction. It'll allow you to do that.
Yeah. Are you guys do you follow Chrissy and you know her? She's the lizard lady. Lizard snakes. I don't like spiders and snakes, but then that ain't what it takes to love me.
I want to be loved by Jews.
Yeah. Reptile moose. Moose. Do you have moose up there? And I thought moose were like a North
she gets
American.
a lot of videos. She's saying she gets a lot of videos about animals, and she's just letting you know what.
Yeah, but she has a house full
reptiles. Yeah, she loves reptiles.
Yeah.
She's partial to reptiles. I'm not saying that she only loves reptiles, but she's partial to them.
Dogs. She has. I think
she loves moose.
The Elton part of her handle there is her dog. I think. I think I'm not positive about that. She loves moose. Yeah. Well, come over. I want to show you my hooves. I'm sorry. I'm a pig. Do you like pigs? Anyway, where were we? We were talking about resetting your algorithm. So it's going to take a second for it to figure out you were the pig you were before you reset it, and you'll be right back. Can you just constantly reset it like every day?
Yeah, well, obviously you weren't listening, Matt. So you can reset your algorithm, and it will take some fucking time.
Yeah, no, it won't take that. I heard that part. I said 30 seconds. That's someone
to relearn what you like.
Reset it and see what happens.
I don't have. Why would I reset it? I'm happy seeing the short skirts and guitars I get every day.
Well, there you go. And I'm
not.
Right
I don't
now,
open emails from you or text messages from you because I know that will screw up my algorithm, and then I'll be seeing all this weird kink and snuff films.
Hey, you got to learn how to make piss jello somewhere.
Oh my God! Speaking of that, there's this one fucking. I don't remember what video you sent, but after that, this same fucking guy keeps popping up with these piss jugs, and he's like piss nuke, and there's the piss nuke. There's the fucking piss waterfall. I'm like, what is happening to my algorithm?
What are you doing to my algorithm with that language? I just want to say, because we have to get to our guests, that these people who are obsessing over where this trans congressperson is going to be pissing, are they not just are they not exposing like admitting to their own kink? Because I'm just thinking of like, how is piss something that makes you worry about being raped? Somebody taking a piss in a urinal or a toilet, whatever. This is the Nancy Mason saying, I'm afraid for my, safety around somebody. They're taking a piss. They're not jerking off, right? It's not a sexual thing. Peeing is not a sexual thing unless it's your kink. And if that's what they're admitting to with this fear of having it, I don't care who's pissing next to me. I just let them do it and move and don't look. If guy, girl, trans, it doesn't matter. I'm not paying attention to them. But this idea of being afraid to let somebody else in the public restroom with you.
The thing is like,
might get raped.
Here's what blows my mind. If you're going to get raped in a bathroom, it's going to happen regardless of if you're in the men's or women's bathroom or whatever. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's not a thing that's because there's a trans person, the odds go up. That's not a thing.
The trans person, actually the odds go down because that person is taken out of the loop usually.
You got to read between the lines, gentlemen. Mike Johnson definitely loves cock.
Lord Johnson loves cock?
He has to. He's so concerned about this, and he would just run in there and be like,
coming for you.
Did you just say your Johnson loves cock?
No, it's Mike.
Not you listen as well as Mike. It sounds like you listen as well as Matt.
So let's just be clear. We're trying to scare the guest away again, aren't we?
Yes. I'm not trying. That's why I didn't say anything. I'm trying to be polite.
Oh, the guest is here. Oh, see, look on my screen. They're down below. I can't see when people pop.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what her most current book is, so I don't have a picture of her most current book ready to go. Do have a website which she has 4 upcoming releases featured. Maybe we'll show that. I'm going to introduce her now. Trisha Copeland believes in finding magic. I would like to find some magic. I'd like to believe in magic. She thinks magic infuses every aspect of our lives. I would like to believe that too. Maybe she can impart some of this belief into me, whether it's magic of falling in love, discovering new passion, viewing a beautiful sunset, or reading a book that transports us into another world. She's an author, a very prolific author from Colorado.
Is that her with all those books that she's written? Oh, okay. No, oh, there she is. Hi.
Good morning, Tricia. Thank you for not running away.
Good morning. You have a lot of various topics you're going off here.
Yeah. Well, this is us. We are we're very troubled people. And Ron, who's the Penn and Teller quiet man, he is full of kink and just terrible things. So he's bringing all that bad topics to the program. I just wanted to talk about sports. That's all I wanted to talk about today. He just changed. I've asked this question before, and I still can't figure it out. FAE. What is that?
Fae or a fairy. It's a different spelling for a fairy.
Yeah. What is it for fairy?
Yes. So the fae are the fairy people.
Okay.
Or a fae is a fairy.
Now, are you that prolific that you release 4 books at once? Because on your website, I try to figure out, because I usually when authors come on, I show their most recent book. And now I see you have like 4 that are coming out, or 5 coming out at once?
Not at once. So this year I released 2, and then I have an anthology that I have a story in that's releasing next year, but it's already up for pre-order. And then I have my next book that will release next July, already up for pre-order too.
Wow. So are these? So you write the books and wait on you backlog them like people do with podcasts, and you just wait. I could never do that. I admire people who can do that. If I write a song, I want to get it published before I go to bed that night.
Well, I mean, like the book is still in editing stages. It's not completely finished. So.
Wow. Magic stuff. Tell me about magic and what your level of belief in magical thinking is. Because I feel like I've lost the ability to suspend my disbelief and not believe in anything that I can't hold in my hand. Where is your love for magical thinking or magical thought processes in fantasy? Where's that?
Well, I mean, in my fantasy books, I definitely get into that world and can see, there might be alternate beings or stories, and my mind wants to believe it, maybe more than I really actually believe it. But in everyday life, I feel like the magic I'm talking about is the magic that's in all of us, that, whatever is special about us, our unique, the brand of, I guess, not just, what we love doing and what we're good at doing and what we can contribute to the world and other people is our magic, is sort of
I'd like to believe in that.
Society. Like you have a gift for speaking and to talking to people and bringing out truth, probably.
That's
when one of my stepchildren was very young, she wanted to know what parents do, what our jobs were. And I told her that my job, I was a stepfather. I said, my job is to find out what your superpower is and to teach you to use it for good.
Right.
I don't know
that's
how
what you should say to every kid.
Oh my fucking God. Hey, come on now. Houston, we have a problem. Now I have all that I have to bleep out in order to pass this audition for the.
This was the audition, Matt. You did not say this was the audition, and why would you not tell us that at the beginning? I'm turning Italian.
I thought I did earlier. I did.
No, you didn't say audition. You said like talks and maybes.
No, you're right. You're right. But I said I was going to have to do. They want to see samples before they put us on the air, and I told you I was going to have to edit a lot of bad.
Yeah, but if you told us that this was like one of the shows you were going to edit, we could have made your editing
not
a
now.
lot easier.
It's not.
We could have made it a lot easier. We could. You think I can't control
Well, I
my
just
mouth?
made it a lot easier by saying it's not. We'll start again tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll try again tomorrow.
Deal.
Deal. Now, one of the things I'm now, because romance is not necessarily my thing, but dystopian novels are. Do you how do you go switch gears like that? Because they're very different worlds. Romance is like happy endings and all that kind of stuff, and dystopian is the opposite. How do you switch gears like that?
Well, the dystopian story came about because I was challenged to write an anthology. So I wrote a short story, and it was supposed to be about healing. And my background is biotech. So I set them in a world where there was a worldwide pandemic coming, and their parents send them away to live in the desert. So they're going to escape this worldwide pandemic.
Wow.
And then I had to make it into like a full-length novel because I can't let anything go and just to be a short story. But after you write something like that, you want something to clear your palate, something to make you feel better about the world. So that's where the romance comes in. Like if I write a really hard story and I have to kill people, then the next story I write is going to be happily ever after they get married.
I can relate to the want to clean your palate because that's how I feel every day after the show. But I don't end up doing a happy show like a kids program after this or something to kind of make myself feel grounded or back halfway normal. I just accept that I'm a terrible person and then look for people to stab me on the streets of New York City.
What does your T-shirt say? Because honestly, it's NT perfect or
Sorry,
ST perfect.
It says not perfect, and then the bottom
not
is
perfect.
Just a fairy.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So if you can see the whole thing there.
All right.
Okay.
The fairy thing is interesting to me. The fairy is the protagonist in the story, the savior, or because we've explored these kind of magical beings things for the last couple of weeks now. We've had lots of people on who've written about. Is this something? I hate to make it seem like I'm being condescending here. I'm not. Is it something you believe in, like fairies, angels, demons, and any of these things? Like
maybe angels and demons to a certain degree, but not fairies, vampires, and witches. No.
Okay.
I mean, it would be very cool if I met one day, but I don't really believe that it's going to happen.
I think you're supposed to say "oh my" after you say vampires.
No,
witches.
no, that's
oh my, yeah.
Moose, pigs, and reptiles. That's when you say
oh my.
Oh my, yeah.
Okay.
Do you think? And I'm not sure how well you would know this, but your audience are they true believers in?
I think there are a lot of people that are. Yes, I mean I think. And there are a lot of people that believe they have like magical special gifts, so they can manifest things in their life that they want to happen. And yes, I do believe, and I don't believe they're not true, because I think for them, whatever is their truth is their truth. And I've seen things like I have a friend who's an animal healer, and she talks to animals and she discovers what's wrong with them. So that is her magic. That is her special gift, and I'm not going to say that's not a special gift.
I hear you. I'm never going to tell anybody that they're crazy.
Now, by chance, if since some of your fans are, let's say, true believers, do you get interactions with them when they correct you about the appropriate behavior of a fairy? Like a fairy wouldn't really do that, or a vampire really wouldn't do that. Get your stuff together, Trisha. That's not what a vampire would do.
I haven't had anybody do that to me yet. My fairies are different from a lot of the takes on fairies, and there are a lot of different takes on fairies. So I think hopefully everybody is willing to say, okay, well, your fairy can be this way and my fairy can be that way, and you don't have to stick to everything.
And my fairy is fabulous in boots. No.
That is very true. My fairy wears boots all the time because she has a dagger stuck in her boots.
Welcome to the Fairy Talk podcast, ladies and gentlemen. People on the radio right now. I don't think we've ever talked like fairies as much as we are right now.
Well, I just listened to Things You Should Know podcast, and they had a whole podcast on fairies. So
wow.
It's very in right now.
And you have a podcast of your own, right? Magic.
I do. I talk to authors of most genres, from fantasy to romance to.
What's the name of it? It's the Magic, Magic something, right? What is it?
Finding the Magic Book podcast.
Did
Yeah.
you say You Should Know podcast?
No, things you should know podcast.
Oh, things you should know. Okay,
Things
sorry.
you should know. Yeah.
The one I thought you said is like a comedy podcast, and you said they had a whole fairy episode, and I was like, oh god, there's no way that was an appropriate episode. So I was confused.
No.
I was like, oh no. Okay.
Maybe you and Ron want to brainstorm this stuff after the program. You want to get together and talk about that. Yeah, so this is like, so fairies now, because back in the day when I was on radio, before I got blacklisted from radio, I used to have lots of paranormal people on, and I had people who actually, the New York Fairy Institute, where people who thought not just thought they were real, but actually thought they were, or had, fairies living in their realm. And I opened myself up to a lot of unstable people in those conversations. I had Stephen Kaplan on from the United States American Vampire Institute, who believed vampires were absolutely real and studied them in New York City. But I opened myself up to a lot of this kind of stuff. Do you get a lot of unwanted or just fringe people who just are really passionate about paranormal stuff attracted to your readings and being, communicating with you?
Sometimes, not tons. Yeah, no, I guess maybe less than you would think. It is a young adult fantasy, so maybe it doesn't attract maybe as many of those
Or
people.
they're just not as aggressive.
Right.
Yeah. It's just
well, it's not the vampire fan group.
Yeah.
But if you do research, there are people that live all over the world that get together and drink human blood, and that's like a thing.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, but they are one particular political party, though. I mean, they're like.
Are there bad fairies?
Not in my book. Well,
Shapiro.
That's not true, because the fairies in my book, they should be good fairies, and most of them are good fairies. But having said that, like, some of the kings try to take over neighboring kingdoms, and my fairy queen gets abducted. So there are some not great fairies. Yes.
Now, is it because how should I put it? It's, in my mind, is it possible they just have a different view of what morality is, and therefore they're not good or bad? This is just who they are, and we are imposing our good and bad standards on your fairies when they're just doing what fairies do.
Well, that could be. I mean, if you think about the fact that if you have a realm where you have 9 kingdoms and 9 monarchs, not every monarch will agree as to how, their realm should be, the rules of their realm, I guess. So if my fairy queen is the first ever female monarch in her realm, and she kind of decides things should be a little more open, and they shouldn't hate the vampires, and they shouldn't hate the witches, and they should all work together. And some of the other people decide, no, we don't want that to happen, so we're just going to push you out.
Yeah, that's like the $64,000 question, probably, because we've talked about this. What is morality and how we define it? Like, a lot of the things that we think are just taboo or just terrible things, they are constructs of human morality, based on a lot of it on religion and philosophy and all this stuff. But it's only immoral if we all agree on it being immoral. It's a very sticky wicket there, and how you figure out what is good and what is bad. And so the question becomes: is there I guess it comes from your foundational beliefs about good and evil, but a morality to your writing that you kind of rely on any particular philosophy or religion, or what drives what's right and wrong in your mind?
No, it doesn't follow any particular philosophy or religion. They have a creator that they believe that created all the beings, but then the creator just left them. Not left them, kind of left them. So the creator just started it, and then everything just happens from there. They have the fairies have goddesses that they pray to, that they believe kind of give them
So they're like black kids.
Inspiration. So yeah.
I think I just knocked Stephen out of his chair. Sorry about that. Stephen, come back. I'll take that back. Is that better? No, I'm sorry. Are you because you are a very prolific writer. How many books do you have in all? Do you keep tabs on?
23 now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot because I've talked about this a lot, but writing one, I have 2 books actually that are in semi-finished states. They're like re-edit. But takes years. That's a lot. How long of your life have you dedicated to 23 books? 10 years? 15?
I started writing in 2008. So that's 26 years? No, 16 years. I can't add today, but that's 16 years. Yeah.
Wow. Are you a disciplined, a regimented type of writer where you sit down every day at a certain time and write, no matter if you have the muse or not?
Not at a certain time. I try to write every day because that makes it easier to remember what I just did and where I was going and what was going on. But it works better when I do that if I have a project. But I will take breaks between projects sometimes.
Wow.
And it's all self-imposed though. Like I tell my editor, okay, and my editor tells me, okay, this is when we can do your edit. And so then I have a deadline to get her the book.
Right. So in the Finding Magic podcast, you interview other authors, right?
Right. Yes.
Do you find that is because I've had many? I'm losing count of the number of authors that I've interviewed, but most of them say no. They wait till the muse hits them. Most of the authors I've talked to don't have any regiment at all, and I'm surprised by that because, like a lot of the the most successful ones feel like they have to have some regiment or discipline time and rules of engagement and all that stuff. But so many of them that I talk to don't. I mean, the vast majority, just wait for the muse to hit them. Do you find that to be true?
I think the more I think about my characters and my story, the more ideas I have for what needs to happen next or what could happen next, or new ideas, new plot lines, new challenges to put in front of them, new cool things that the readers are going to like. So the more I think about them, the more I write about them, the more I live in their world, then I can make the story that much better. So for me, thinking about them, and at least doing some writing every day moves my writing forward, and I think makes it better. I can't do, I know where the book's going to start and where it's going to end and some major plot points in between, but I don't write detailed outlines of what's going to happen in every chapter, because then I get bored. The fun of it for me is figuring out how to get to the end of the story and make it fun.
Yeah. Do you get attached to the characters you create?
Yeah, I've been in mourning for 3 weeks since I finished writing because
I'm sorry to laugh. That's a terrible. I'm sorry for your loss. Is what I meant to say.
I don't get to write this character ever again because it's the finale to the series. So I know.
It's like, my mom just died. That's inappropriate.
So do you have a ritual that you follow, like after you have to get rid of a character so that it's more real or easier for you to let go? Like, so let's say you just killed off a character. Do you have a sip, pour a little bit out for your homie, or something kind of ritual that helps you move through that?
I probably should. I mean, I'm in the editing stages now, so I get to relive the story again. And then when I make the audiobook, I'll get to relive it again that way. But when we're finally finished with all of that, I should have something. I should
light a candle, pour a little bit out, have a dinner, a meal, like a last
GD,
supper.
you also gotta put on a pair of your later homies.
This is a new theme we're working on, I guess. I don't know. It's every day we come back to the later hosen discussion, and now later.
It was a callback. It was perfect. That was
but it's been
gold,
happening. It's been happening for 3 weeks now. So
Oktoberfest all year.
I don't know why, but
that's
this
true.
whole. A big thing is not to kill off your protagonist so that you can have a series. And I know the publishing industry likes to promote. Once you've got them interested in your characters, don't kill them off, so we can keep them like a television series or whatever. Just keep them hooked and coming back. Does the business side of it influence your creative writing? Like in your mind, it's right to kill this, even though I love this person I've created in my mind, or this character I've created in my mind. It's right for them to die in this moment, whatever. But the business says, no, don't kill them off. You need to have a next chapter in the series. Does that play into your creative, how you approach writing?
Yeah, I guess I probably could never kill a protagonist. I mean, I've definitely killed major characters in my story, but killing like the main protagonist, I don't think I could ever do that.
You're addicted to happy endings, is that?
I am addicted to happy endings. But the good thing in fantasy is if you watch any of these series, The Vampire Diaries or any of them, most of the characters die at some point and they always come back, because that's the beauty of fantasy, being a vampire, being a witch. Having magic, you can always bring them back.
Wow. It seems like we've had that in our politics too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but when they come back, there's always something wrong with them. Didn't they watch Pet Sematary?
That's true. There's always a price to pay for bringing someone back. Yes.
I did not know that. Like
there usually is.
Wow, that's very interesting. So,
I'm actually when Matt dies, I'm gonna bury his mustache in a pet cemetery, so it comes back to life, and I get to wear it. Continuity. Back to you, Matt.
Okay, thank you.
That wouldn't happen because he doesn't know how to reset his algorithm.
I do know how. You gave me complete instructions.
Mine doesn't even have the option. I looked.
Wow. So Ron's got something you don't have? Wow, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of torn about this idea of not ever killing off the protagonist, or because it's part of life, right? Our heroes die, and I don't know. I think sometimes stories are more profound when they don't have a happy ending. They leave you kind of, I don't know. That's just me.
I mean, yeah, you could think about. I mean, yeah, it would be. I guess it'd be okay, but
yeah,
I like to think about my characters at least having. I do a lot to my characters. I put them through a lot, so to think of, they're gonna die at some point.
No, I'm
my
curious.
Fairies don't live forever. So.
I'm curious about the branding. I'm not sure if I think you're pretty open about this, but you write different kind of novels, and one series you have like a pen name for, so the branding is different, right?
Right.
Is the audience aware of that?
Yes, and none of my books. I mean, I only get PG-13. That's as far as my books go. So even my romance is they call it a closed door romance. So you have some romantic scenes, but you're not going to see the hardcore porn, or read the hardcore porn. So, and that's kind of why I clump or have this magic as my brand, because even in my romances, my characters are transforming and learning things and becoming their best selves, or the people that they want to become. So that kind of drives my whole brand in all my characters. Like,
is it closed door because is it closed door because you don't want to have to figure out how fairies make love and what they do with their wings and stuff like that, and that way you don't have to worry about the mechanics, and so you say don't forget about it. Let's just say they did it and move on.
Well, my fairies are YA, so they only have kisses in my fairy stories.
Wow.
But so that's just my level of comfort with
so YA is PG.
Yeah.
That's very weird for me to even say that.
Well,
We're just gonna go down.
that series is PG. My other Kingdom Journal series, that's the witches and the vampires, that's more PG-13. I guess those characters are upper YA.
Because I've had lots of authors on who romance now, but paranormal romance, and they, for some reason, women seem to be turned on by having sex with a ghost.
My wife loves paranormal romance. She loves the vampires and the werewolves, and those novels are very explicit. She doesn't do Trisha might know, she doesn't do the silky folds. She moves way past that.
Well, I almost can listen. The werewolves and vampires are physical things. I can't really wrap my head
And
around
aliens
that.
and
But,
aliens.
yeah, but ghosts not being physical things. It's just I don't get that. Where it's more like the sex with a vapor being or something like that.
Well, you never had tantric sex with an invisible woman? You're missing out, man.
We'll revisit that at another time. Is most of your audience female? Yes.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to know guys who are, if anybody in the audience listening and want to chime in on this in chat room, guys who are interested in romance novels, because I think if for guys, the happy ending would be a different kind of happy ending, but the actual ending of the book would not. It's always a breakup if it's a guy, and that's where we're satisfied. Okay, he killed her, and that's a happy ending.
Well, if she did something wrong to you, I guess you might be happy about that.
Yeah,
right?
maybe I'm just exposing my own.
Or there's some guys who actually look at it as an instruction manual, be like, "Oh, so this is what I'm doing wrong, and this is how I woo her." Okay, I'm doing it all wrong. I didn't know.
That's kind of what I was thinking about with the ghost, because the women are just tired of trying to get a man to do it right and try to train a man to really please her in the way that she wants to be pleased. And like, it might be easier with a magical being. Is that part of it?
Well, I would say, like, people that get into certain genres, like if somebody is like really a vampire person, they will read almost every vampire book and every vampire series. So I have had like more of a male audience on that side.
Wow. So do you think about that? Because you know what, the publishing business is it's as competitive as comedy or music now. There's so many options for people, and it's really hard to break through. Do you think about like, all right, I know vampire books, if there's an audience out there, they're going to buy this no matter what. Does that even enter your thought, like the business aspect of it, while you're writing, while you're in the creative process?
No, I don't really follow the trends or what's writing to. I think they call it kind of writing to the trends. I don't really do that. When I think of a character and I really like them, and I feel like I have a good story or a good plot around them, then I kind of just go with that. And a lot of my books and series have come out of writing shorter stories. So,
wow.
Yeah, but I've always loved fantasy and vampires and witches and books about those. So I think that's why I'm drawn to it.
Wow. Do you find yourself trying not to be influenced by like movies and television and that stuff and avoid it when you're in the writing phase?
Definitely. If I'm writing fantasy, then I'm reading romance or some other genre. And then if I'm writing romance, then I'll watch fantasy.
Wow. Do you compare yourself to other people in the same genres as you? Because we a lot of comedians and musicians and people like in the arts will say they don't, but I think it's human nature to do that, right? It's kind of how can you not? You see people out there who are being successful, and you say, "Well, what are they doing that I'm not doing?" Or any of that kind of stuff. Or am I better or worse than them? In those kind of ways, do you find yourself doing that, or is that like only to people in the performing arts?
No, yeah, definitely. I'm on Goodreads all the time. Oh, how many reviews do they have?
Yeah.
How many reviews do I have? But you want to be successful with whatever you're doing. I mean, you want to have a good product, and you want people to. I think that's human nature. You want people to like it, and enjoy it. So.
Are you actively involved with the reviews or and reply back or any of that kind of stuff?
I definitely do. Obviously, I don't get into any confrontation, or if somebody leaves me a review, enjoys my book, I just say, "Oh, thank you so much." And if they have, I can comment on a character that they like, I definitely do that, and I hope they will reply back to me too. But if they didn't like something, I just let it go.
Wow. How much do you put energy and time do you put into like book trailers? Because this is a thing I never really until like 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't realize how many authors were putting out videos that kind of are like short movie trailers for their books. And I noticed you have some that are really cinematic in a lot of ways. It seems like a lot of energy and creative juice has to go into that. Are you doing those yourself? And is that something?
I do. Yeah, the ones that on my, unless they say they're by somebody else, I've done those. I don't consider them to be very thematic, so thank you very much. I use Canva, and I put some music and put some words and put some pictures from wherever I can find them. So thank you, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like doing that too, though. It's an outlet, and it helps me be in my characters' lives more and think about them more. So usually it's helping that whole creative process.
Well, your genre really plays into the visual stuff, right? Because all that fantasy imagery and stuff, and yeah, it's fun to look at the imagery that might go along with the book. Have you this is a stock off the shelf question for every author, is the idea of when you're writing, or even when you first get the idea of a story, you have to. I'm thinking, if I say you have to, I'm saying I would have to, not you have to. You'd have to have in the back of your mind, this is a movie. I'm writing a book, but it's really a movie in my head, and I sure would love to be a real movie someday. Talk to me about the mental process. It's got to be a visual process when you're writing, right?
It is, yeah. I can see these characters in my head, and a lot of times I'll find pictures that I like and post them on my wall while I'm writing, so I can just keep in mind what every character looks like and what they're. So it is, yeah, it's fun and inspiring. And my first books, when I was first writing, I wrote more like a movie script because I wasn't trained to be a fiction writer. And my first editor edited my first book from it was 200,000 words down to 80,000 words because she was like, no, you don't need all this dialogue. So yeah, that was, I definitely see them as movies. It would be really cool. But,
So have you considered writing a screenplay? Like a screenplay, and because a lot of authors, I've asked almost every. I stopped asking the question, "Would you love to see you?" Obviously, yeah, sure, I'd love to see my book made into a movie. But the truth is, Hollywood is lazy. Ron does a showbiz report, and the fact that they are out of ideas and they just are rehashing remake after remake or old idea over and over again says that they are just completely lazy. And my take on that is, if you want your book to be made into a movie, you got to make it easy for them so they don't have to do any work and write the screenplay and pitch it as that rather than pitch it as a book. Have you considered doing that, like in that format, screenplay format for your book?
I've looked at the courses. I'm taking a course on how to write a screenplay. I just haven't gotten there. I actually have a full-time job too. So I've just kind of decided my bandwidth hasn't been there yet. But yeah, I may, because right now I'm going to be at the end of a series, so I'm not sure where I'm going next with that.
There's a easy cheat. The software, Final Cut, not Final Cut, a Final Draft, Master Draft. Always there's software where you basically just tell it your story, and it will help you format it into screenplay type of stuff, which is, it's a godsend. Saves a lot of time, and you don't have to take a course on it at that point. It teaches you, like, this is how you would write, this is how you would transpose that into a screenplay. But I do think, if Hollywood or filmmakers, Hollywood, when I say Hollywood, I'm thinking filmmakers, they just have become so lazy that they just want to Marvel movies and whatever made a buck last time, let's just do that again. And so if you want to pitch it, you really have to do the work for them. Have you done any reached out to anybody in form of trying to solicit people to make a movie out of any of your books?
I have not. I haven't researched the contacts that I would need for that. I just got a publicist a few months ago. So,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, I had someone that was doing some sort of soft PR for me, more on social media and through bloggers, but I didn't have someone who would contact people like you.
You would think 23 books in that
I've always been slow to enter things, so maybe that's me.
Yeah, good for you. I mean, I think it. I think people who would deny this. I mean, it's kind of because again, you start out with this visual in your mind. And I think it's kind of insincere to say you wouldn't love it to be made a movie. And I've had authors tell me, "No, of course, that's not even in my mind." Like, come on, be honest here. You want it to be made in a movie. I want.
You
I
want
want
more
it.
people to love it. Yeah, you want more people to see it.
Yeah. How about the business? Have you ever been, I don't know, frustrated to the point where the business is a business of publishing is such a pain in the ass that it just kills your creativity? For obviously 23 books, you've kept going since 2008, pretty steady. But have you ever hit that roadblock where the business just becomes overwhelming? Like, why the hell am I even bothering doing this? It's just so much crap you have to put up with as a publisher now, that and so many things you have to learn and do that are not part of why you started writing in the first place. Any of that?
The profit margins aren't great, but and I do everything myself, so I only do what I'm able to do. I'm not a really big tech person, so they've made the processes pretty well. And when I make mistakes and then go back, I just get people to help me. So it's always in the back of my mind, like, if I should be making a better profit margin on this. And when you finish a series, that's really great for a series because more people try it.
Yeah, self promotion is absolutely part of the author experience. It's part of the performer experience. You have to do it. Some people are more comfortable with it, but that's always been part of it. But now it's more even. So you have to book. You have to look for the opportunities yourself. I mean, even J.K. Rowling or somebody like that, it becomes harder for them to get exposure because there's so many people doing it, and it just becomes a really not a fun. Publishers used to do a lot of that for you. Publishing companies used to put in a lot of the energy, and it's like the same thing with comedy clubs. Comedy clubs don't promote these guys at all. They have to do all their work, and music clubs don't promote me. I have to do all the work, and so that's the way the publishing industry has gone, and it just takes a lot of the creativity and a lot of your drive. For me, it does anyway. I was just curious if it ever did with you. But 23
yeah,
books.
I'm not like a really extroverted person, so if I, definitely in-person things suck my energy, and like podcasts don't bother me as much, but hours on end of that, definitely. I have an event this weekend, and I'm kind of dreading it, but.
Wow. So is it honest? Is it more enjoyable now that 23 books in, or is it less enjoyable than because when you first start, this is a whole new thing. You kind of re-identify who you are as a person. The first time you call yourself an author, first time I called myself a professional musician, was like, wow, it's like a mind game. But for me now, 47 years later, it's not as for me, it's not as enjoyable as it was when the magic of first identifying myself as a musician. Are you more inspired now or less inspired?
Oh, definitely more. It's much easier to sit behind a table with 20 books than one book. And you have more to talk about, and well, at least for me, I grow more comfortable when I do something. So.
Very cool. So as I mentioned earlier, usually when I have an author on, I have their latest book and I show their latest book. But then I went to your website and I see, wait, it's asking me to do something here. The actual books that you have, I didn't know which one we were going to be talking about here. You have to be a FAE rogue. What's the book that is? Are you working on this? Promoting or letting people know about 4 books at once.
Right. So To Be a FAE Rogue is the latest in the Realm Chronicles series. That one was just published in August. So and then the follow up to that will be the finale to the Realm Chronicles series. So those are kind of the two I'm talking about right now.
I don't know if we can
see. To Be a FAE Rogue, yeah.
Yeah, and this looks like the Office Pack. This is a romance, and this is under a different name, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's my new romance pin name.
And no, this one I can't see the title here. I have to go over to the page. But this is also a romance novel. The bottom.
Perfect. Yes, that's the
Yeah.
start of the Perfect series, my Perfect romance series.
With these two different names, it's. How do I ask this question? Do people know you by face, by associated with the name, with the pen name?
No, mostly Trisha, because I just created the pen name maybe 3 years ago, I guess.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of new because I used to I performed under my real name, but at the same time, I was doing a parody act of a country western singer, Hank Porter and the Lonesome Cowboys, and basically I put on I was like an old country western singer. And people and Hank and people still to this day call me Hank. They see me, hey Hank, and so it became like an identity crisis type of thing for me. No concerns with any of that. I mean,
no, it would be fine because the name Maria Jane is after my sister and my grandmother. So if somebody called me that would be.
Oh, very cool. All right, so it's an homage. Yeah. Very cool. So yeah, I appreciate you being on here, and I hope people. I'll be honest with you, we probably don't have a lot of women who are in our audience. I don't know. I think the demographic is probably like 60, 30, 60, 35, something like that, and then
frumpy old men.
Other, yeah.
Well, if you like dystopian sci-fi, those two books are definitely good reads. They're more military action type.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in the guys who read your work, who are fans of yours. Who I would want to talk to them about, just the mindset of a guy who, because as my stuff, I've always been a nonfiction guy, straight down the line. I mean, but the fantasy stuff I find is almost exclusive to women. Romance novels are almost exclusive to women or homosexual men.
Yeah, my husband's not reading my books, so yeah, that's fine. I'm not offended.
So when you're writing, because I used to bounce stuff off of my godchild, my goddaughter. When you're writing, do you bounce stuff off of anybody? Do you have like a confidant who reads the fresh draft? If your husband,
yeah, I have a couple of friends, and my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law. They all read my books, so yeah. It's great.
But before you publish them, or do you? Because I would do it as I would finish a chapter. I would send her a chapter, and one chapter at a time. Do you do that?
Mostly when it's finished before it goes to my editor, then I get it before it goes to the editor to get feedback. Definitely with the fairies was like when I first started writing my fairy books, I was like, I don't know if I can write fairies, and I sent it to my mother-in-law, and she said, oh, that's my favorite book so far, and I was like, okay, I could do that.
Nice. I would. I'm not good with constructive criticism, and so, and for me, it was always I knew I needed to do that, but then every time the critique would come back, I'd find some resistance within myself. Like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, no, I want to be better, but yeah. I wrote a short story and somebody ripped it apart, and I said, okay, well, I'm not a short story writer, so this is okay. Maybe I can learn something.
That's interesting. In the performing arts, imposter syndrome is definitely a very prominent thing. I never really considered it because what you do is just as creative as the performing arts, but you don't get to experience the feedback in real time right in front of you. Do you ever get those like insecurities and imposter syndrome and all those feelings of doubt, self-doubt?
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard because you want your books to be good. You want them to be written well with good plots and good characters that people are going to like. But that also can be subjective a little bit. I mean, there are norms and grammatical things that have to be followed. But yeah, so yeah, you just have to listen with, a balance, and think about who's telling you the feedback. But sometimes, I've had feedback on my books and somebody didn't like the ending, and then I'll go to my editor and say, oh, I need new chapters for the ending. And she says, that was one person. Okay.
All right. Now, thank you for being here this morning. The podcast comes out when? Do you do it every week?
I do, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. And the name of it.
I have a question real quick. Well, go ahead, Matt. You go ahead. Well,
no. I just want to know the name of the podcast again one more time for people.
Finding the Magic.
Finding the Magic. And it's everywhere you find podcasts or digital
and
podcasts.
on YouTube too. Yeah.
All right. Pops Fenderson has a question for you while I say goodbye to Govs. Go ahead, Pops.
Bye, Govs. Okay, Tricia. Now, in